Good. I'm going to go back to Renee here for this. I'm sure you get a lot of applications whenever people are looking for jobs, and you have to make the tough decision of who do we want to bring in for an interview versus who we don't. And maybe it's not that difficult of a decision. What are some factors that you consider whenever you're looking at applications, thinking about, do I want to bring this person in or not?
I would say, first off, make sure that your cover letter is addressed to the correct district. Do not just attach any cover letter. Make sure that you have addressed it to our district and it's not the one down the street that you have also applied to. Just check your spelling, have someone read over your letter, because that's probably an automatic no. You're not going to get in if you've made little mistakes like that.
Yeah. Eric, you got another one?
Yeah, I would just say something that I look for is just what activities they were involved in and on their resume. So have they been working with kids at all during college outside of just doing the degree? So seeing some of those extracurricular, or even if it's just, hey, I've worked at, Sonic for 4 years or 5 years, I worked through college. Something that just shows a little bit of credibility or at least some stability there. I don't know, that always kind of stands out to me on how they're getting involved while they're in college, or whatever clubs or things that they were a part of, fraternities, sororities, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Anything else, Evan?
Again, I'm echoing what Eric and Renee, I could spend a lot of time with them. They have great ideas. I want to go back to what Renee said. It is absolutely a peeve of mine when I read a cover letter and it is just grammatically bad, or absolutely if it's addressed to the wrong person or the address, is wrong. Same thing for a resume. If it looks like someone put a resume together really quick, and the advice I would give is absolutely get someone to help you write a cover letter. And if you need to, pay someone to help you put a resume together. There's certain things that will represent you in the electronic world, and you want them to be done at a really high quality level. In terms of the application, everything that Eric and Renee said, I want to see a diverse background, people that have had good experience, whether they've been teaching before or they list their practicum experience, and also be able to communicate in the application ways that they can help the school outside of just the position. So extracurriculars or club interests, things of that nature. The other thing that I would add, and Renee and Eric may disagree with this, but I actually like it when someone sends me an email and it'll say something like, it'll be formal, it'll be, Mr. Robb, just letting you know that I filled out, an application in the AppleTrack system. I'm sending you my cover letter, my resume, and a picture. And I like it when someone does that. And I think, so not only investing in getting a really good cover letter, having a very polished looking resume, but if you have a really nice headshot, send that off also, because you want to be able to get the attention of the administrator who's clicking through a lot of emails and say, okay, wow, that's a really polished package. And this person's in our application system. This is someone I want to talk to.
Renee, Eric, do you disagree with that?
No, I think that's a great idea, just because honestly, I didn't realize until I got in this position how many applicants you do get.
Yeah.
And you can spend an hour and you go through 40 or 50 applicants. And so if someone emails me, I would guarantee that I would at least personally go be like, hey, let me check this person out, because they took the time to do that. And I think that gives you that extra edge or that personal connection there, that they would at least pull your name out of the list of 100 per page that we're looking through.
Good. Eric, I want to go back to you again here.
Sure.
All across 2019 and over the past few or several years now, social media has a constant presence in all of our lives. And so people that you interview inevitably will have some sort of social media, whether they add it on their resume or not. I imagine that you and Renee and Evan, I imagine you also, whenever you look at candidates, you try to really invest and know, who am I interviewing? What are some things, aside from like the obvious, the red Solo cup or whatever, what are some things on social media that whenever people post and you see those posts, you either pause and think, I don't know if this is the person, or something that they post and you think, wow, this is somebody that I'm really excited to interview, or I'm really excited to offer a job to?
Yeah, well, and to be honest, I've not seen this yet. So this would be a challenge to anyone who is applying, I guess. Um, there's I forget her name, but out on Twitter, the Susan or Susie new teacher just got hired this year.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, no more can you just sit back and be like, well, I was in college, so I'm not connected. Or just all the chats that I know that are out there too. I'm looking, I would want to see that come out, or someone say, and okay, I guess if I go back to the actual original question here, I, I would be wowed if I see that they're actively participating on things, whether that's a Twitter chat, not that that's an end all be all, but it's that leg up. And once again, when you have 5 great candidates, what is the one thing you're going to do that stands out? So then, and bringing that up once again in the interview, we don't necessarily know that or won't dig for that. But someone who is getting connected, it will show in their answers. But a presence on there, I think, won't hurt. So I guess that stands out. And I can't say that I have any horror stories of finding anyone with blatant stuff. I know it happens though. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't say I found horror story pictures or stories either, but I'm definitely looking. I mean, I'm looking you up before I ever interview you. So know that. I mean, it's out there. Whatever you put out there, it's out there, and potential employers are able to find you.
Yeah. How about you, Evan?
Yeah, I don't know that I have a tremendous amount to add to that, but I think it's extremely important for young people, and Phil, in our building, that's why we put so much work on digital citizenship and helping kids understand their footprint, to understand that what gets out on the web can stay around for a long time. And so I think it's important for young people to think about a clear separation between their personal things, if they have a personal Facebook, and their professional place within Twitter, for example. And I would absolutely caution on putting up pictures or being seen in pictures that are not necessarily in the best light for what I or what other administrators would want to bring into their building. And back to what Eric said something really interesting. So I think Eric, I think you just said that if someone is connected in Twitter, it's going to start, it will come out in their answers. And I agree with that, because I think that if you're really connected within Twitter, you are accessing a lot of information really quick from the best, brightest people in our field. And so because of that, you're very possibly going to be able to bring more into an interview than someone who has never dipped into those waters. And so it is an advantage to learn from Twitter. Some people ghost in and they're not involved. But I would encourage people to get in professionally and be very careful about who you follow and what you send out, into Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, however you choose to communicate with people.
Good. I want to go to Renee to start this one too. Renee, whenever, and this is going to be asked to everybody as well, whenever you're in an interview and you're talking to somebody, sometimes they say something and you just think, oh, that was a perfect answer. Has anybody ever given you like that kind of perfect answer that made you think, I'm going to hire them right now? Or if not, what would be a sentence or a quick phrase that could maybe say that would make you think, wow, this is who I want?
I would say some perfect answers recently have been focused on behavior and just that understanding of trauma in students' lives. So, if I give a scenario, they can understand that, they might be the one causing the problem in the classroom as the teacher. So they're able to reflect, have the mindset that we're a team and together we can figure out the problem. I would say some other great answers have been focused on showing me that they're going to be a continuous learner.
Nice. How about you, Eric?
Yeah, I would give 2 thumbs up to that one and totally echo that. And I guess I would also say on that being a learner part, being a learner by saying, I love when they say, here's what I have experience in and how I've been using it. Or if I say, hey, well, we don't do this in our building, we do PBIS. Oh, well, I've heard some great things about that. I'd love to learn about it. They're quick to show you that they're open, and they back it up as well. It's that, I guess it's credibility. That's what I'm looking for as that one-liner, is just them giving me 2 or 3 examples of kind of walking the talk, I guess. Is that the same? Walk the talk? Talking the walk? I don't know.
One of those things, right?
One of those things that they show that they're living out what they're saying. Because everyone can say, you know what? I'm all in for kids. I'm all in. Well, how? How do I know that? And I guess that's the thing that the opposite would be some of those canned answers of, I love kids. I mean, okay.
They're really great.
I don't think you have you're just stagnant, so I don't know. Someone that I could see teaching kids.
Evan?
Okay, so you're looking for this like response that's potentially the light bulb that was like, wow, this is really impressive.
That magic moment.
The magic moment. I need some sort of slogan like Eric just had. I'm not finding that right now.
That's okay.
I have had some times when I would bring up a question about grading, and I would say, okay, I'm going to ask you some very specific questions about grading, and maybe I would open up the door to get a little feedback from a candidate about what they know in regards to grading. And if someone says, well, I've recently read, I had someone who said, well, I recently read Fair is Not Equal by Rick Wormley. I'm a big fan of Doug Reeves, Dylan William, Tom Guskey, and if they can bring that into their response, and I can tell if they're faking it, I can tell right away. But if someone can really bring that in a substantive kind of way, that is highly impressive. Now, you didn't ask this question. I don't want to dominate a lot of time, but I will say something that is equally annoying to me. And one of the things that is annoying to me is regarding language arts classrooms, when I might ask a question to someone about how they would teach a particular piece of literature, a short story, or let's say they're doing some sort of genre-based instruction, some things from a book, and the response that I get is, well, we would do popcorn reading or we would do bump. And I get a little frustrated with that, with the amount of time that someone may spend in college or a master's degree, that bump or popcorn reading is the go-to strategy to help kids learn how to read. Now, on the flip side of that, I am very impressed when people understand that all kids don't necessarily read the same, and differentiating is important. And knowledge of how to do that and how to bring that into a classroom would be something also that would be very impressive if it was a language arts interview to me.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Teachers pay teachers is not a curriculum.
Say what?
Not a curriculum. I got a great worksheet for that. You'd be surprised.
Well said.
I got a great worksheet for that. I like that. Well, hey, Evan, you've met my wife before. You've met LB, and whenever we started dating, I never had this belief that like when you know, you know. Mm-hmm. But as time moved on, I really started to realize, like, wow, this is somebody I love. Whenever you interview somebody, what's it feel like whenever you know this is the one I want?
I can say that is an incredibly good feeling, because the opposite is very frustrating. When you put in a lot of time in it and you're interviewing a lot of people and you feel like it's not clicking, it can be a little bit disheartening for an interview, for an administrator rather, and it can also get you into thinking that, well, I need to compromise because I might not find what I want to look for. And if there's one advice that I could give to administrators is, try to invest the time to interview people, to find the right people for your building. It makes all the difference in the world, and it feels very, very good. And you can tell rather quickly when you speak with someone if you feel they're going to be a good fit for a team.
Mm-hmm. Renee, what do you think?
I completely agree. So we have some big interviews going on, in fact, this week. And we had some canned questions that were in our system, and I rewrote them this weekend. And I made the interviews an hour long. I want to know that you can sit with me and carry on a conversation for an hour, and you're passionate, and it shows the entire time. And we're going to go deeper. I'm going to ask the question. We're going to take it deeper. So get there. Tell me you can get there. But yeah, when those when you find the person that you get excited about and is going to make your team better, you're ready to hire them on the spot. But there's a few more hoops you have to jump through. But yeah, it's a great feeling.
Awesome.
It's a great feeling to go back to HR and say, I had a great interview. I'm really excited about this person.
Cool. Eric, what do you think? What's it feel like?
I think that's the word right there, is excited. I remember interviewing someone we just hired last year, and I was just like, I just left in a better mood, just the way that he carried himself and just the engaging conversation. I wanted to run over to Renee and say, I just interviewed this guy, and he's just a cool dude, and I love talking to him. So I think that's part of it, is just that feeling that you get is excitement. You want to keep talking, and we've gone through the 1 hour situation, and it's like, you know what, an hour can feel, some of these screening interviews that are meant to be 15 minutes initially can feel like an hour, and that hour long one felt like 15 minutes because it's engaging, it's exciting, and you just want to keep hearing what they have to say. I mean, it's kind of like being on a podcast and you have a great person that you're interviewing. You just want to sit and ask questions and listen to them all day long. And that's, I think, the feeling that you get. You enjoy that. And I think the opposite of that is, I'm just, able to hear other interviews maybe going on if it's a big screening room. And I'm kind of like, well, I'd be more interested in, what they're saying over there. You get lost very quickly, and you can tell if that energy's flat. And that may be bad to say, but it's a reality. When you're interviewing 8 or 9 people a night on some of these screeners, you got to stand out and leave me excited or feel fired up to do what I'm doing, each day, and make me want to be better.
Awesome. Make you want to be better. I love it. At the end of an interview process, and Eric, I want to start with you on this one. Does it really make a difference if somebody sends you an email or a card right after the interview to thank you, or is that not really something that administrators factor into the hiring process?
Well, I won't. If you send a card, just make sure it doesn't have a ton of glitter on it, because I got covered in it today, and maybe on my hand still, with a thank you card. I think it's appreciated. Unfortunately, and I'm just speaking frankly, the decision's been made if you're going to the next round or not based on the interview, not if you send the thank you note. However, if you are moving on to the second round or something like that, it can kind of be the cherry on top, or just one more piece that puts that name in your, that it stands out. Because you really, honestly, when you're screening, then you're meeting them, then you're talking about them, then you're bringing them back for second interviews. You're getting to know people. You're getting to know names, experiences, different qualities. So the more you can get your name in there, the better. But if the interview honestly did not go well, I could care less if you send me a thank you note, because the decision's been made. Whether that's harsh or not, that's my reality.
Yeah. Renee,
that's kind of how it is.
Okay.
I don't know what Renee and Evan would say. Maybe they would go back and change their scores, but I doubt it.
What do you think, Renee? Would you?
Go back and change scores, but I would say send the thank you. I mean, if you are the lead applicant or the lead interviewee that night, I would want to see a thank you. And I think, an email's fine. It doesn't have to be in the mail a couple days later. Make it immediate.
Yeah. Evan?
I think this kind of falls under the umbrella of presenting yourself as a professional. And, some people, every time someone interviews doesn't necessarily mean they get the job. And it may be that you weren't the right fit for the job, but sending a short note saying thank you for the opportunity, I think is an important thing to do. I agree with Eric that it's not necessarily going to sway decisions, but I think that it speaks to one's professionalism and to some degree, someone's class to kind of wrap it up and do it that way.
Awesome. Well, hey, guys, I don't know how to begin to thank you for tonight. I feel like we've gone over a lot of stuff, but we still have to do our high fives. These are 5 questions totally unrelated to education, just to help our viewers get to know you a little better. Eric, Renee, you've done this before. You know how it works.
We just forgot our little hands. I'm sorry, we forgot them.
And you don't have the and I don't have a fire away, motto. Those of you that don't get the reference, make sure you watch Shermo EDU. It's an awesome podcast. I watch it on iTunes. We're going to start with Eric on these. We're going to go Eric, Renee, and Evan. And the reason I'm doing that is that's how you appear on my screen right now.
You got it.
So the first one, crab or shrimp?
Shrimp.
I have a new allergy. I can't have either.
What?
Yeah, it just started this summer. I cannot have either. I tried shrimp again on Friday and I got hives. I know, it kills me too. I
My
love
heart breaks
crab.
for you.
I love
Evan?
crab too.
I would say some blue claw Chesapeake Bay crabs with a lot of Old Bay. How about that?
Got to have the Old Bay where we are, right? Next one, and this is kind of inspired by the fact that I went to the movies last weekend. Popcorn or soda?
Ooh. Popcorn.
Movie popcorn, yes.
Evan, you have a preference?
No, I don't like either one of those. But I guess I'll have to say popcorn, but I hope it's not too salty or too greasy.
Okay. This next high five, my answer is probably neither for it, but cardio or free weights?
Back in high school, free weights and that kind of stuff, but cardio if I can get it done.
Okay.
I want to be a runner. Run like a pirate. Trying.
Can I say both?
Yeah, you can say both. That's fine.
Okay.
I guess you can say neither.
Both.
Evan, cardio or weights?
I would say train fast with weights so you get a cardio effect. How about that?
All right, I'll accept it. Favorite band?
Oh, wow. Right now, Chris Stapleton, country singer.
I don't know if I have a favorite band.
How about a favorite song, Renee?
I'm gonna have to pass right now. You're gonna have to come back to me because I can't think
Okay, you think about it while Evan tells us.
of
My
it.
favorite band?
Favorite band?
That's really hard. I'll just throw a couple out. I mean, I like, like the Rolling Stones. I like Boston, and I like the Who.
Nice. Renee, did you come up with a song or a band?
Eric's Googling it for me. Lauren Dangle right now.
Bagel.
Okay, yeah, Lauren Daigle. She's good.
Phil, so
Yeah.
let me
Yeah, you say, yes.
let me ask you, Phil, since you're a young guy, of the bands that I referenced, do you know any of them?
Well, I think I've heard of the Who before. No, I know the Who. The Stones, I've not really listened to. They're too old for me, man. And Boston, I hear it's a nice city, but that's about the extent of my knowledge. Yeah, it's a.
Hey, I'm right there with you, buddy. So hang in there. I listened in Boston because my dad listened to it.
Right. One last question here: tap water or spring water?
I just go with the straight up tap water, except for the flooding Kansas City area. I would maybe do spring water, depending on. I'm getting real choppy tonight. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Spring water.
Evan, spring or tap?
No, I'll do tap water, but I might have a filtration system.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, again, thank you all for being on. Before we go out, I also want to make sure that if you have any other final words of wisdom for people, you can express those. So we'll go in reverse order this time. Evan, any final words of wisdom?
I guess my words to young people or people who are interviewing for positions is invest some time, spend some time to learn about the place that you are going to interview at, and put a little practice into your interview and make sure that you are presenting yourself in the best possible way, because as I think we'd all agree with, you only have one chance to give a good impression. Yeah.
Renee?
I would say be professional. Even way before you get to the interview, when you're in college, think about, if this is the path you want to take, invest in having experiences with kids, going to conferences, getting on Twitter, find a way to stand out. So by the time you get to the interview, you have that trail to bring and highlight yourself.
Awesome. And Eric?
Yeah, I would say don't give up, and also don't have your heart set on one district. Apply everywhere, anywhere. I had to drive an hour each way for a couple of years for my first teaching position. And it was the best experience I ever had, and has been great. So don't get dead set on just all your eggs in one basket, or wherever your student teaching at. Apply as much as you can.
Nice. Good. Well, hey, thank you all again so much for being on the show. I think this is really going to be valuable. I had a lot of fun doing the first admin roundtable, and who knows, maybe in the future there'll be a second one. Thank you to the viewers that are watching this. If you're somebody that really enjoyed what you saw today, I really hope you'll consider clicking subscribe to the channel. And if you or a friend or just somebody you know wants to be on Edusations, you can all very easily sign up by going to philstrunk.com/contact. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.